Let's go.
All right, so welcome back, everybody. Everybody got a book, right? It's called The Way of God.
Thank
Saying
you.
about this. So this is anybody who wants to
I
know.
didn't get a book.
Anybody wants to know. God bless. God bless. Okay. Anybody who wants to know what Judaism really is, okay? They want to know what Yahadut is, then they'll read this book. Honestly, it's a composition of everything. I'm going to read some things out of it. If you look at page 15, if everybody looks at page 15, middle paragraph. Okay. Over 200 years ago, Rabbi Eliyahu, the famed Vilna Gaon, declared that Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto is the one who wrote this book, okay, had the most profound understanding of Judaism that any mortal human can attain. Okay? So if he had the most profound understanding of Judaism and I want to know what it is, I'd go talk to him, right? So this is the opportunity. A person wants to know really what Judaism is. He doesn't have to listen to people. He doesn't have to see what Jews do, what they don't do. Just pick up this book and understand it, okay?
He passed away young, huh?
He further stated that if Luzzatto were to live in his generation, he would go by foot from Vilna to Italy to sit at his feet and learn from him. Okay? If you keep going down to the bottom paragraph, he says, I'm going to skip the second sentence. He does not look at various teachings as isolated facts. A lot of people, they'll tell you certain things in Torah and in Judaism. It'll be very isolated facts. They'll tell you, yeah, there's angels all around us. Yeah, and so how does that fit into my life? How does it fit into the construct of everything that goes on in Judaism? So they'll blurt out isolated facts, but not how they related into the whole system. Okay? So he does it in such a way that it's an all-encompassing system. Seeing them as part of such a system, he's able to point out insights and relationships that otherwise it's not obvious to the person. Okay? If you guys turn to page 21, okay, this is just an introduction to the book. If you guys decide you want to study this book, we can do that. But, again, this was donated by our anonymous donor, and so it's for you guys, anybody wants to just go take it home and read it. Okay, so he writes over here, well, one knows a number of things and understands how they're categorized and systematically interrelated, then he has a great advantage over one who has the same knowledge without such distinction. Okay, so when things are ordered, it's better than just knowing a lot of facts. It is very much like the difference between looking at a well-arranged garden planted in rows and patterns and seeing wild thicket or forest growing in confusion, right? Obviously, you want to go pick your fruits and your vegetables in a place that's planted and everything's in its row, as opposed to like everything growing in craziness, okay? So that's a gift for everybody, but our classes will be based on this format. That's why we started with, the previous classes were how the world's constructed, right? Man has a body, man has a soul, the worlds were created, our actions have an effect, the effect brings down, okay? And the whole purpose is to get us to the next world and get us enjoyment, okay? So today, some of the people wanted to talk about tzedakah. Tzedakah is charity, right? Commonly translated into English. But it's also from the word tzedek. Tzedek is righteousness, okay? So it says a person who does tzedakah brings shalom la'olam, brings peace and prosperity, and also completion to the world. Because the world is supposed to be complete. Right now, it's incomplete. At the end of 6,000 years, we're going to get to the world's completion. And that's the whole purpose of the world. And for us doing the work, we're going to get reward in the next world. That's what everything is based upon. Now, the Torah has a lot of details on how to go about doing this. Okay? So now I'm gonna read you guys some of the halachot. I don't know if you guys want me to read it in Hebrew and then translate it into English. or just read it in English and that's it. Okay, so
Okay, then we can read the book by ourselves.
well, you don't have it. I have it in front of me, so I can
I got the lost.
I can read it and just translate it to you. But write it down because you're not going to remember all this. Okay, if someone doesn't have a pen, you know you can
I forgot to bring my
you can grab them.
folder. I forgot to bring my
God,
folder.
Mostly.
If anybody needs paper, I have some
I
paper.
need paper because I'm gonna copy my folder. I forgot to bring my folder. Need it. אני מפסידה, שכלום מפסידה, אני מנסה למצוא. Thank you.
Okay, pass it
Anybody
around.
else
Make sure.
want paper? Anybody wants paper?
We all take
No?
one pencil.
Okay, does everybody have a pen? Ready to
Pen
go?
and pen? No,
Why are you always causing trouble? Always.
And I'm a troublemaker.
Understand.
מזל טוב, ממני.
Thank you.
מזל 120.
נכנסה לסייקל.
Yeah.
אמרתי לו, welcome to the cycle.
Good club.
When I get
מתי יוצא לחו"ל? 2 years.
You
Alright,
still
you
young,
got it?
Terry.
here enough, naive.
Yeah, you guys ready? We're gonna get started. Okay.
זה לא לגרד את הראש.
לא ביד, אסור.
אסור ביד. באמת,
באמת, אסור ביד?
Alright,
So
much
for
to,
real,
uh,
for real.
okay.
Do it, you have to make nutella.
Yeah. So we have
So
problem.
good.
הרסתי את הבריאות עם הנטילות.
זה מסרגות. Well, you bought it specially?
כן.
No, she did. She bought it.
So you're not allowed to
Everybody said
scratch
thank
with
you
your hand and
Well, when you
you have to do that.
what they're doing is they're talking about the halacha that a person who scratches their head,
Yes.
they scratch it without you know
ומה אם זה מגרדים?
without something in between.
Okay.
So if you listen, I'm going to explain to you guys. You know, you don't have to talk about it, right? And so people have like oils, right, and dirt in their hair and on places that are covered in their body. So when they, touch these places, they need to go wash their hands. If not, there's spiritual ramifications that aren't good.
Oh boy.
You know, if they're smart, they forget their learning. If they're, they're not learned, then they lose their mind a little bit.
Okay.
It causes them to do sins that they normally wouldn't otherwise do. So I guess we got, no, if it's normal. It depends on the type of hair. Like, no, if you're touching there's no dirt over there. So, right? It's normally the roots of the person's hair. The scalp is full of dirtiness, right? It says a chofef berosho, someone who scratches it. Okay. So when we're doing the
צדקה.
tzedakah, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna read it, I guess, in Hebrew, and then you guys, I'll translate it. Okay. So there's a lot of halachot. So if you guys have questions, just write them down, and we can go by them at the end. Okay. So mitzvah taseh litan tzedakah, kafi asagat yad. Okay. So it's a mitzvah. Remember, we said there's positive commandments and there's negative commandments. Yes.
היא מפריעה עם הראש שלה.
Oh, sorry. You should have told me.
I'm sorry, no.
לא, עכשיו שמנו לב.
היא אמרה לי ש...
Oh.
No problem.
So
We're good.
I'll
We're
have
good.
to write like this. Okay. That's okay.
Unless you want to come sit next to us.
It's okay.
Everything.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I can do this. Thank you.
We're good.
No big, yeah,
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, sorry. Okay, so it's a mitzvah taseh. Mitzvah taseh, remember we said there's 248 positive commandments and 365 negative commandments. A positive commandment is to go do it, right? Like tzedakah, you go do it. And a negative commandment is don't do it, right? Like don't eat pork, okay? Don't eat meat and cheese together, okay? So it's a mitzvah to say a positive commandment to give tzedakah, okay? As much as you can. ויש לא תעשה, right? There's also negative commandments, okay? By someone, במעלים עיניו ממנה. Okay, so if someone comes and you know they need it, and you turn your head, turn your eyes away from it as if you don't see, so that's a negative commandment. You're violating the negative commandment, okay? So you're not doing the positive, and you're violating the negative commandment, okay? So there's two types of things over here, okay?
Can you explain this one?
Yeah. What's the
If
question?
you see someone in need on the street and you just ignore, is that what you're saying?
If you, we're going to get to the details, but if you ignore someone in need, it's a negative commandment. You're violating the commandment, okay? And you're also not doing the positive commandment.
Because you're not doing the mitzvah.
Which
You're
is
not doing the mitzvah,
Right.
right? Okay.
Makes sense.
And it says actually about a person like that, he's called Belial, and Ukeilu Oved Elilim. It's as if he worships idol worship. Okay?
Wow.
And it says, ומאוד יש להיזהר בה כפי אפשר שיבוא לידו שפיכות דמים. Okay, a person should be very careful in it because he could come to kill somebody. How? שימות העני המבקש אם לא ייתן לו. The person might actually die if he doesn't have enough food that you give to him. You give him money to buy the food, so a person might actually die, okay? There's actually a story in the Gemara that this happened to a person, okay? To a famous rabbi, and he didn't give the person in a timely manner, that's tzedakah, and the person just dropped dead. Okay, today we don't have such scenarios, but a person can understand like what's going on. Okay, how severe the inyan tzedakah is. Okay, but the next thing, leolam en adam ma'ani min tzedakah. There's no way a person could become poor from giving tzedakah. So a person must say, well, if I give, what about me? I might lose out. I might become like that poor guy, right? So no, it won't happen. Okay, velo davar ra, velo ezek mitgelgel al yada. Okay, nothing bad will happen, and no kind of harm can happen. Shenemar vaya maaseh tzedakah shalom. Right, the doing of tzedakah will be peace. So nothing bad can happen from giving tzedakah. Okay, so a person might be afraid, but he shouldn't. Shouldn't be. The next law is anybody who has mercy on poor people, so from heaven, God has mercy on him. So a person wants to arouse divine mercy on himself, his family, and all that stuff. So he has mercy on other people, so that's going to arouse divine mercy on him and his family.
So how do you find them? Like, here in Sharia, well, you see poor people on the street?
You got to, first off, we're talking about just Jews. We're talking about just Jews right now, currently, and we'll talk about the different halachot. There's certain people that you could find that if you're looking for it, you'll find out who really needs it. Okay.
When someone comes and knocks at your door, how do you know?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Okay. You're gonna have to do some research, some investigation. Okay. All right. Next one is Atzdaka docha et hagzerot akashot. Okay. So if there's an evil decree in heaven that something bad is supposed to happen to a city, to a person's house, a person's family, to a person themselves, so by giving tzedakah, it'll alleviate that decree. Okay. Okay, it happened to a lady in the Tanakh that it was not enough food to go around, and Eliyahu, the Navi, came to her. The prophet came to her, and he said to her, "Give me some food to eat." She says, "I don't have even enough for me or my family." So he said, "Don't worry about it. Make for us, make for everybody, but give me my portion first, and everything will be fine." She gave him his She did this. She followed him, and everything was fine. They got money, and everybody lived. Everything happened for good, even though it didn't look like it because she only had for her and her son. Now she's going to give to the rabbi. It's like, what's going on? But she was saved because she gave to the rabbi, and the divine mercy was on top of her. Okay. All right. Yeah, write down your questions. Anybody has questions, we'll address them, together in like one lump sum, because some of the laws I'm going to say, they're going to answer on your questions, so you don't need to ask them. Okay. Now it says Kol Adam chayav v'liten tzedakah. Everybody has to give tzedakah. Afilu ani, even a poor person has to give tzedakah. Okay. This poor person, amit parnes min tzedakah. Let's say that's his whole livelihood. His livelihood is to get charity from other people. So he too has to give tzedakah. Okay, chayav liten mima sheitnu lo. He has to give from what they give him. U'mi shenoten pachot mima shera'ui liten. If someone gives less than what is fitting for him to give, okay, every person is judged differently. Okay, no two people are, judged exactly the same in terms of how much they have to give. Okay, Beit Din hayu kofin oto. So the Beit Din, there used to be a court of law, a Jewish court of law in every locale. So they would force this person to give, how much he should give. Obviously, I guess they knew how much he made. It wasn't as much of a secret as it is today. Okay, umakin oto makat mardut. They would actually give him a little love taps. Okay, they weren't love taps. They were like little lashes. Okay, that to punish him. Shiten masha emdu liten, so that he would give what they estimated that he should give. Okay, and they actually like physically take from him to give to the tzedakah. Again, someone might say like, "Oh, wait, that's too much," and all that stuff. But we want this person to merit, and if for some reason in his head he got it in his head that, oh, it's disadvantageous to give tzedakah, we have to show him that it's not, even forcefully. Okay? Okay, this one's important, so you guys listen up. Gabayei tzedakah, people who collect tzedakah, en mekablin mi'anashim. They're not allowed to take from women. Ume'avadim, or from servants or slaves. Ume'atinokot, or from kids. Okay, under the age, I guess, of 12 and 13, right? Ella davar mu'at, but they could take a little bit, a few bucks here and there, but not like a big donation. Aval lo davar gadol, shecheskato gazul, because it's probably stolen, or ganuv. All right, stolen in secret or stolen in open. Mishel achirim, it's probably it belongs to somebody else, right? Because like, where does a woman get? She probably gets from her husband. Right? And who said the husband allowed to give? Same thing with the kids. Same thing from the slave. Where did they get this money from? Okay? We're talking about back in those days. Like, women didn't work. They didn't have their money. But in general, a woman can't take it without the consent of the owner's money. Okay? וכמה הוא דבר מועט? הכל לפי עושר הבעלים. Okay, so how do we determine how much is a little bit that they gave? It's according to how rich the person they took from is, right? The husband, right? ועניותם. והנימי לי בסתמה. Okay? אבל הבעל מוחה אפילו כלשהו אסור לקבל מהם. Okay, this is just talking about like in general, a general case where a woman gives, or a son gives, or a slave gives. But if a husband says, no, I don't want any money to go out to charity, you're not allowed to do it. Okay? That's a person. What's that?
Even though it's wrong?
Doesn't matter, it's his money. It's not yours.
It's like stealing?
Yes. Yes. Okay?
But his money is not our money?
That's right.
That's not?
No. Sorry to bust the bubble, okay?
But now we have our own money.
Really?
Okay.
I need to know about that. My own, yes, the salary, I have my salary, so how does it work?
So okay, in the ketubah, like it says that he promised a person promises his wife 3 things when he marries her: to feed her, to clothe her, and to give her relations. Okay, so those are the things he's obligated to a woman. So that means if he's obligated to feed and clothe her, then it's usually it was back then that the man worked. But if the woman worked, it was his money. Okay? Yeah, because it was his obligation. Okay? Okay, it was his obligation. So anything she earned, anything she earned anything she
It's
earned.
still his money, even though you work, you stay. It's still
Wait, we're gonna get to these days, okay? So back in the day, it was earned. The man earned the money, right? And anything she earned on top of it became his automatically.
Okay.
Even if she found money in the street, it would become his because again, it's his burden to feed her and to clothe her. Okay. Nowadays, thank God, we're so abundant in resources, right? We're so abundant in resources that a woman works, a man works, and all that
they
stuff.
all have its separate salary.
It's kind of assumed that he no longer has that obligation. That you took the obligation on yourself, you don't need him. Okay? So you like alleviated him from that.
So we give tzedakah from his money tzedakah and my money tzedakah, right?
Yeah. Well, if you separate your money,
We don't separate the money.
oh,
No.
זה מפחיד, כאילו פתוח לגמרי.
אנחנו מקליטים.
לא, זה פתוח שם לגמרי.
הדלת.
לך איתי לה עם כל זה.
לא.
לא לזכור?
אסור.
לא, parce qu'il est
אסור.
מה אסור?
אסור.
אסור כי זה לבד.
מה? כי מה?
יש הלכות, יש הלכות.
זה לא ייכנסו, אנחנו...
They're getting crazy now.
Okay, back to our thing, okay? So nowadays a woman works and it's assumed that he's not giving it to her.
Right.
Okay, he's not obligated to her. Okay, although technically from the Torah he's obligated to her. He says, listen, I don't want my part. I'm going to take care of myself. Okay, so she has her own money, right? It's in that category. But in general, if she's not working, it's not her money. Okay. Okay. Now, next halacha, guys. If you talk, we can't move on.
We have to move on.
Okay. All right. Adam shoah, a person who's cheap. Okay. שנותן צדקה יותר מהראוי. He gives more than he's supposed to, but he's cheap. לא. או שמצר לעצמו, right? Who pushes himself, ונותן לגבי, כדי שלא יתבייש. Right? Why does he give the tzedakah? Because so he doesn't feel bad, right? He doesn't feel like embarrassed. You know, that everybody's giving, but he's not giving, but he does it like forcefully.
Yeah.
Okay? אסור לתובעו ולגבות ממנו צדקה.
Really?
You're not allowed to go and ask him for it and take
Unless
it,
he gives
okay?
you.
והגבאי שמחלימו, right? If there's a person collecting tzedakah and like embarrasses him, okay? ושואל ממנו, עתיד הקדוש ברוך הוא להיפרע ממנו. הקדוש ברוך הוא is gonna punish him for doing such a thing, okay? So not every, if you know.
If he knows he's a cheap person and you have to do that in front of everybody, embarrass him, that's cheap?
Yeah.
Someone that's cheap,
Okay.
someone that doesn't have.
Not cheap. And you say you have to give tzedakah, and you know that he's very cheap and it's hard for him to give.
אסור
That's
לעשות
אסור.
את זה.
Yeah, אסור.
Okay.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's.
Okay. It's good. This people should know this.
be careful.
People should know this. You gotta be careful, right? A lot of people come
No,
and
we don't know really. But, but how do you know he's cheap? If she's right. How do you know it's from son?
listen. You should know who you're asking. You should know who you're asking people for tzedakah from. You should know. You know.
But if he wants to give, even though he's really cheap and he wants to give, but he gives like it's not with the whole because he's embarrassed. He's giving on his own. That also doesn't count as tzedakah.
No, it counts. But הנה, אנחנו מעיפים אותך מהשיעור. That's it. זה מוקלט. זה לא יכול להיות ככה. Okay?
So it doesn't really matter even if it's cheap.
No, actually, it's better. If a person is cheap, right? So what's going on? The Torah says lefum tsar agra. According to the hardship, that's the reward you get. So if it's hard on you and you still do it, you're going to get more reward than somebody who's open-handed and just gives.
Got it.
Okay? But we're talking about a case where the person is cheap and he might have said, yeah, I'll give because he was embarrassed. So you're not allowed to go and like ask him and force him to actually give it. Okay? Because he probably just said it because he was embarrassed, not because he was really wanting to give. Okay? Next הלכה. הרוצה לזכות לעצמו, יחוף יצרו הרע. Okay, וירחיב ידו. Okay, a person who wants to get merits, Okay, he'll pushes down his Yetzirah. We said person has a good inclination and an evil inclination, right? The evil inclination goes with the body and forces him to do sins, not good things, and the Yetzirah Tov forces him to go with his neshama and do good things. Okay, so a person who wants to merit, he should push down his Yetzirah and put out his hand. Okay, extend his hand, meaning to give tzedakah. וכל דבר שהוא לשם שמיים יהיה מהטוב והיפה. Okay, anything you give, okay, should be for the sake of heaven. Shouldn't be like, oh, I'm giving to get.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
They
it's
don't
like,
do that.
here's I give, so I get. I'm gonna donate, so I become rich. You know what I mean? It should be for the sake of heaven. It shouldn't be to do a deal. Okay, yeah. Now, what happens? Now we're going to talk about what is l'shem shamayim. Im bana bayit bet tefillah yeh na'eh me'abayit yeshivato. A person's going to build a shul, a synagogue, right? A bet knesset. It should be nicer than his house.
Wow.
Because who are you doing it for? Right? If you're doing it for God, right? So your house is going to be nicer than God's house. Can't work that way. Okay? Echil ra'ev yachil me'atov ve'amatok shebishulchano. Right? When you give food to someone who's hungry, you give them like your good food, not the leftovers.
Right.
Right? You give them like the good tasting stuff, the best things, right? Again, you're doing tzedakah, you're doing a mitzvah with this. You're not throwing out like stuff you don't need. You know?
Leftover.
Okay? Kisa you give clothes to someone who doesn't have clothes. Yekaseh me'ayafeh shebiksuto. Give him your beautiful clothes. Don't give him like, the cheap stuff with the holes and that kind of stuff. You say, he needs it anyway. What? Beggars can't be choosers?
Right.
Right? No, it doesn't work over here. Beggars can't be choosers, doesn't work. Okay? You have to give them the good stuff. Okay? Ekdish davar, yekdish me'ayafeh shebenchasav. Okay? וכן הוא אומר, כל חלב להשם. All of the fat stuff, all the good stuff, you should give to God. Okay? This is the correct way to do it. Okay? Now we're going to say, kama chayav liten. How much does a person need to give? Okay? We're going to talk about it. Okay? You guys ready?
Yep.
שיעור ניתנה אם ידו משגת, ייתן כפי צורך העניים. Okay? How much you have to give, you give according to what the poor person needs. Okay? ואם אין ידו משגת, if you don't have enough to give to what the poor person needs, okay? כל כך, as much, okay? ייתן עד חומש נכסיו. You give up to 20% of your possessions. Up to 20% of the money you have.
That's the
Okay?
maximum.
10 is the minimum.
We're going to talk about it, okay?
What do you mean the money you have? The money you carry on you at that moment? Or
No, all the money.
Possession.
All the money you have.
Okay.
So no more than 20%. Well,
Or we're going to get, up to 20%. Okay?
okay.
נכסיו.
do that?
מצווה מן המובחר, yeah.
Yeah.
People giving 20%.
People
I
give
hear
20.
10%.
Okay, guys, again, we're reading the
Yeah,
Torah.
לך לקהלת למטה.
Very, we don't care what other people are doing. We care what the Torah says.
Exactly.
You know what I
But
mean?
if people give,
Yeah.
Thank God, people give. But again, like if a person wants to learn the Torah, he doesn't go out in the street and learn from someone who may be doing or maybe not doing it.
That's right.
Right? He learns from the text, so he learns from his rabbis, right? He learns from the correct source. Otherwise, it's a big balagan. Okay? As ad chomesh nechasav, mitzvah min hamuvchar. This is the best type of mitzvah. Okay? The top level is to give 20% of your possessions. Okay? Ve'echad me'asara. But when a person who gives 1/10, okay, maaser, midah benonit. That's the middle measure. Okay? The best is to give 20. The middle measure is 10%. Okay? Pachot mikan, anybody who gives less than this, ayn ra'ah. Okay? It says he has an evil eye.
Oh la la.
Okay? So
He has the person.
the
has
person himself has an evil eye.
towards others.
No, it's just he has
He gets to him. He gets
no.
the way he sees
No.
life.
It's not the evil eye that someone gives you and it curses you. We're talking about he has a bad eye. He has a bad ayn ra. He doesn't want other people to have good things.
Okay.
Okay?
He's not happy for him.
He's not happy for other people, right? So he'd rather have it, keep it to himself, right? He doesn't want to keep it to others, okay? So I'll give you an example, okay? Someone makes $10 million.
Yeah.
What's a mitzvah min hamuvchar?
20%.
How much is
20%.
of 10 million? How much is 20%?
20,000. No, 200,000.
2 million.
2 million.
2.5.
Okay,
Oh, wait,
2 million. He makes $10 million. 2 million. He has a good eye.
You talking about profit? 10 million?
Yes, bro. Okay.
Profit. 2
After
million.
expenses?
No, not expenses.
No,
your
no,
houses and your this and
No,
this.
no, whatever.
Okay.
You gross,
Ex-
gross.
No. Net. If it's a business, it's your net. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, it's your net, but your house isn't an expense. Your family cost, your kids' education is not an expense.
No, because I should
Okay, it's what your business made. That net after taxes, after expenses and everything, from that you give. Okay, so let's say the scenario is he made $10 million. Okay, a good eye he gives $2 million for tzedakah. What's a benoni, like in the middle?
10%.
How much is 10%?
1 million.
1 million. Let's say a guy comes to shul. He says, "Listen, I love the shul. I'm giving $750,000 tomorrow to the shul."
You should give,
Let's sign up.
you should give one.
Right? He doesn't give enough. He's cheap. Okay? He's cheap. But in everybody's eyes, this guy is he's a wonderful person, right?
Only
But
he knows.
exactly. Only God knows, and
God, him and God.
him and
So what
God.
if you give more than 20%?
Oh,
I mean, you
Is it
could.
good or it's a bit taking away from you?
No, I think the
Well,
20%.
It depends. Everybody's
Do you
I- I-
their
I-
situation.
more than 20%?
I read that
Yeah,
if you more
sure.
20% means
I don't know, it's like some people don't know.
a good thing because you might
You might become yeah.
בודדים. ממש בודדים, אין הרבה. לא אומר יום זה איש אחד שתורם כמעט.
Guys,
זה לא הרבה.
guys, you're being recorded. Okay, like this that guy heard it. Okay, the guy heard what you just said. Okay.
should heard it,
Okay. No, but seriously.
So you can
So
avoid that.
right, so you can imagine like this person. He gave a lot, and everybody's looking, and it's like whoa. But between him and God, he hasn't fulfilled like what he's supposed to, right? And then things happen to people, and people don't know why. And this guy's such a nice guy, right? People look from the outside, but they don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. Okay? Okay. וחום מזה שאמרו, listen, וחום מזה שאמרו שנה ראשונה מהקרן. Okay? Like, let's say a person never gave tzedakah. So, let's say he wants to start giving. Whatever he has in the bank, $40 million, it's from that. Whatever he has in the bank, okay? מהקרן. מכאן ואילך,
כל מה ש...
חומש שהרווח בכל שנה. Okay? Every year he gives his 20%. Okay? From the profits. All right? Keep going. You guys have strength for more. Huh?
So
I have...
we ask questions.
Yes. Write down your questions. Write down your questions. All right. Write down your questions. Okay? לעולם לא ימנע אדם עצמו פחות משלישית השקל. Okay? At least a third of a shekel, I'm going to talk about that, לשנה, ואם נתן פחות מזה, לא קיים מצוות צדקה. A shekel right now is about $12, and a third of that would be $4, right? So a person, in a year, if he didn't give $4, he didn't do this mitzvah the whole year. Okay?
I don't understand. He has to give $4.
No, that's like the minimum to actually have done the mitzvah tzedakah. Okay? In a year.
וזה בפורים? מחצית השקל?
No, this is just tzedakah in general. Just tzedakah in general. Okay? You ready? Okay. צריך ליתן הצדקה בסבר פנים יפות, בשמחה ובטוב לבב. Okay? You have to, when you give the tzedakah, you have to do it with a smile and a good heart and, make the person feel good, right? The person shouldn't feel bad that you're giving him tzedakah. Okay? ומתאונן עם העני בצערו, okay? ומדבר לו דברי תנחומים. Okay, so you talk to the ani and you tell him, listen, God should bless you, that you don't have to come to this situation. Make him feel good. It says a person who gives tzedakah gets blessed with, I think, 6 brachot, okay, from God. And if he says nice things and he gives the tzedakah, he gets blessed with 11 brachot.
Wow.
Okay, so it's much better if you actually say something.
that you give the tzedakah to. Usually.
Right, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to all the different levels. There's levels to this. Okay. ואם נתנה בפנים זועפות, right? Let's say you gave him with like a bad face, like an angry face, ורעות, הפסיד זכותו. He lost his merit. Okay? So, don't throw the charity at someone and say, here, take, leave me alone. Okay? All right. אם שאל לו העני ואין לו מה ייתן לו, לא ייגר בו ויגביה קולו עליו. Right? Like if you don't have anything to give, don't yell at him, say, I don't have anything. What's the matter with you? Go talk to somebody who has money.
Go walk.
Go take a hike, right? אלא יפייסנו בדברים, right? Talk to him, nicely and calm him down. ויראה ליבו הטוב שרצונו ליתן, tell him like you want to give, right? Or show him that you want to give. אלא שאין ידו משגת, but you don't have right now, or you can't. You give out all your 20% already to somebody, or you give it locally, you give whatever, yeah. You do it in a nice way. Okay? אם יכול לעשות לאחרים שיתנו, שכרו גדול משכר הנותן. If you can make other people give, you get more merit than you yourself giving.
That's good.
Okay, so if anybody wants to be a fundraiser, okay, but the fundraiser is
Also very.
you don't take any money for yourself, because then you're not, it's not. No, I mean there are fundraisers who do take money for themselves.
Yeah.
But
They work for the,
right. But in general, the person who causes another person to give tzedakah has more merit than the actual person who takes out the money and gives it. So imagine, we got a guy who's, $10 million is gonna give $2 million. The guy who got him to give, I say, hey buddy, maybe you should give to these guys. He gets more merit than the guy who actually gave.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, that's a good deal, right? So you guys can be doing mitzvot all day long, You can do mitzvot all day long. Okay.
What
Now,
we need to know is like the places. What's
yeah, we're getting to it. We're getting to it. Don't worry. There's a few more things over here. Okay. Again, like the Ben Ish Chai, like when you give halachot, he wouldn't go like one by one because people got tired of halachot. So you tell them like stories in between, like tell them divrei Torah in between. So because not everybody can go like boom, 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 boom. It drives some people mad. So if I'm driving you mad, I'm sorry. I don't have so many stories in my head. Okay. Okay. 8 מעלות יש בצדקה. There's 8 levels to tzedakah. Okay, we're going to talk about like the different levels of a person. Okay, zu למעלה מזו. One is on top of the other. Okay, so we're going to start from the best type of tzedakah all the way down to the worst, but it's still, even the worst is still good. Okay. הגדולה שאין למעלה ממנה, the highest level of tzedakah, that there's nothing higher. המחזיק ביד ישראל, המח, the person who holds the hand of a Jew that fell down, okay, meaning fell down from his level of money, right? Okay. ונותן לו מתנה, he gives him a present, או הלוואה, or a loan, או עושה שותפות, or he makes him his business partner, או ממציא לו מלאכה, or he creates for him a job, כדי לחזק ידו, in order to strengthen his hand, שלא יצטרך לבריות, so he won't need other people. Right? You take him from neediness to self-sufficient. Okay? ולא ישאל, ועל זה נאמר, וחזקת בו. It's a mitzvah to strengthen the hand of another Jew. So he doesn't need anybody else. Think about it, because if you give tzedakah to a person who's needy, you're probably going to have to give him to him next week, and the following week, and the following week, and the following week. If you don't raise him up from his level, he's going to stay on the same level, and you're probably going to need to keep going this way. Okay? So the highest level is to make someone self-sufficient. Also, people get embarrassed, in their situations. So you give him back his honor, right? That he's self-sufficient, doesn't need anybody else, right? Okay. פחות מזה, the next level down. Okay, so that was, you want to say the number 1, this is number 2, or number 8, however you want to number it. Okay, so the next level down is פחות מזה, הנותן צדקה לעני ולא ידע למי ייתן. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. If you give it to a poor person and you don't know who you gave it to, ולא ידע עני ממי מקבל. But the poor person also doesn't know where you got it from. Okay, so it's double-sided blindness, I guess. Right? You don't know who you give to, and the poor person doesn't know who he got from. Okay? וקרוב לזה הנותן לקופה של צדקה. Close to this is a person who puts in a pushka box, right? A box of tzedakah. ולא ייתן אדם לקופה של צדקה, אלא אם כן יודע שהממונה עליה נאמן, ויודע לנהוג בה כשורה. This is very important, right? People see a box of tzedakah, they just put it in, but they don't know who's collecting that tzedakah and who they're giving it to. Okay? So you have to know who's going to take this money. Are they trustworthy or not? Just because you see a box, you don't know where they're going to take it. They're going to take that money and buy a pizza party for everybody, in their house. Who knows? So that's why you got to investigate. You can't be just blindly give. Sure.
All these
There's many.
organizations like Kupat Ha'ir,
You have to investigate.
how do we know?
I can't.
How do we know?
You have to investigate.
What is investigation?
How do you investigate? How do you investigate?
Well, you got to be in the community to know where these funds are actually going.
Israel, so how do I know?
So we're gonna see at different levels about Israel and all that stuff. But you have to give to a place where you know. כן. צריכה יפה.
הלכתי לקברי צדיקים, לא שם הקופת צדקה, שמתי באחת מהקופות, אני יודעת מה הבן אדם שיושב שם יעשה עם הכסף?
לא יכולה.
אז מה, אז בגלל זה אני לא אתן צדקה?
אז אני נותנת למשל לבן אדם שאני יודעת שהוא יעביר את זה למקום אחר.
מה זה אני יודעת? הלכתי לקברי צדיקים.
Guys, after the show, okay?
באמת שאלה בשביל הצדקה.
כן.
בגלל כל מה שאני שומעת עכשיו. I'm sorry, I'm talking to me, but it's easier for me to. I'm gonna try to translate it. It's matter to who you give the tzedakah. It can be to a goy.
No,
I'm asking. אני שואלת. לא, יש פה כאלה שלא. No, I'm asking למה. I'm gonna explain why. I'm thinking. Someone came to me and asked.
Give me.
Now I grew up with. My grandma would teach me, someone who open his hands to you, you must to give him, and doesn't matter who it is. That's like someone send it to you. So that's my concern about. Should I give him? Should I not?
You
cannot say no.
We cannot say no because it could be the truth.
I asked the rabbi another.
We talked about last week.
No, that's really bothered me all the time, and I don't know what to do.
Because it's not Jewish, you mean?
It's happened to me. One time someone came to me and asked. Now
Guys,
I grew
okay.
up with now
I
when
grew
they
up-
ask
Alright, we got.
you must open your wallet and
Okay.
give the money.
Guys, we'll get there. Okay. Right now we're just talking about Jewish people. Okay. Later we'll deal with not. Okay. But again, you have to investigate who you're giving it to. Just giving it out is not. Okay. The guy can go and do whatever he wants with it, and that's not called you give tzedakah. It's called you threw it out to wherever it went. Okay. So if you want to be smart and follow the Torah says investigate who you give to. Okay. That's it. What you learned is what you learned, but
okay.
we're reading from the Torah,
I said that
and we're learning,
to
guys.
me, that means it came from somewhere.
Guys, we're learning from the Torah. I don't know where you got it from. Everybody hears something. Now you know the truth.
Okay.
You could do with it whatever you want. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So that's in the case where you put it into a box. Okay. פחות מזה, the next level down is שיודע הנותן למי נותן ולא ידע אני ממי לוקח. Right? So you know who you give to, but the poor person doesn't know who they're getting it from. Okay? כגון החכמים שהיו הולכים בסתר ומשליכים המעות בפתחי העניים right? Our sages used to go. They identified who was poor, and they went and they threw like a bag of money, in their door opening. So right, so the person didn't know where it came from. There weren't security cameras back then. Okay, so the person would just throw a bag of money, and the poor person would wake up and see it. Okay, וכזה ראוי לעשות ומעלה טובה היא אם אין ממונים על הצדקה נוהגים כשורה. Right? If you see people who are like, for a fact that they're in charge of the tzedakah and they're not giving it out to the good places, so you yourself find out who the poor person is and find a way to give him without them knowing where they got it from, like a surprise. Okay? פחות מזאת, the next level down. Okay? מזה שיודע העני ממי נוטל. The poor person knows from who he gets, ולא ידע נותן למי נותן. Right? But you don't know who you gave to. The poor person knows it's from you, but you don't know who you gave to. כגון החכמים שהיו צוררים המעות בסדיניהם ומשליכים אותם לאחוריהם. Right? They would take money, put it in a bag, and throw it behind their shoulders, and the poor people would come and pick out of the bag. They wouldn't see to embarrass the poor person, right? But the poor person knew where he got it from, okay? But again, so you see, like, the more it's hidden, the more blessing you get, right? ובאים העניים ונוטלים כדי שלא יהיה להם בושה, right? In order to not embarrass the poor person, right? Because remember, we talked, we were supposed to uplift him, not to push him down, okay? פחות מזה, the next level down, שייתן לעני בידו קודם שישאל. So you give it to a poor person in his hand before he even asks you. You don't wait for him to ask. You know he needs it, right? And you just go and give it to him to his face and say, here, take. Okay? פחות מזה, שייתן לו כראוי אחר שישאל. One level down is after the person asks, you give him what he needs.
Yeah.
Okay? You give him what he needs. פחות מזה, שייתן לו פחות מהראוי בסבר פנים יפות. Less level than this, you give him less than what he needs. He needs $20 for a meal right now, you give him 18, you give him that, but you say, I wish I could give you more, but this is all I have, right? You do it with a nice face. Okay? פחות מזה, שייתן לו בעצב. That's, go down one is like, you're like, here, fine, take, leave me alone. You're sad in giving him. Right? You're sad for departing with your money. Okay?
That's the bottom.
Huh?
That's the bottom.
That's the bottom. That's the bottom. You gave, but it's okay. So that's in the level of the tzedakah and also like the level of merit. Okay? That's that. It's the merit that goes up and it goes down according to the level. Also, if you look at the chart that we made, right? What's a person doing? He's making a connection between the 6 levels, right? Kucha berichu ushchinte. We didn't talk about this, right? What happens when you give tzedakah? So what you're doing is you're aligning the channels of the world, right? The 7 lower channels. The 6 are called kucha berichu, and the last one is called shchinte. So you're bringing them together, you're connecting them, and you're causing blessing and goodness to come to the world. Okay, so that's the whole purpose. Now, if a person has this in mind, it says that the money you give is like the yud, right? Because usually when you give, back in the day, they used to give coins. So that's like the yud. Your hand is like a hey, because there's five fingers. Your arm is like a vav, okay? And the person who's getting it, his hand is also a hey. So that's God's name you're connecting. Okay, so when you do this, you have this in mind, it has an extra effect. The more the person has an intent to do the right thing, and he does it in this way, the more bracha and shefa he brings to the world.
I blanked out a little bit. Can we do that? I wonder a little bit.
Okay.
Sorry.
Again, a person, the money that they give, okay, it was usually in the form of a coin, okay? So that's like a yud, okay? It's like the letter yud. Okay, the person's hand giving it is like a hey because it has 5 fingers. Okay, hey is 5. His arm is like a vav. Vav is 6. Okay, and the person receiving it, their hand is also a hey. Okay, so it's as if you're creating the connection between God's name, the Yud, the Hey, the Vav, and the Hey. Okay, so if a person thinks these, it's not just enough to give. We talked about pishpush and mimush. Right, pishpush is you're doing the right thing, and mimush is like you're feeling it out to do the right thing in your heart, not just in your limbs. Okay, it's not just an outer experience; it's an inner experience. Okay. All right, keep going.
Yeah.
טוב ליתן פרוטה לעני קודם כל תפילה, שנאמר, אני בצדק אחזה פניך. Okay, so it's good before you pray, you give some money, right? Because it says with tzedek, with righteousness, I will come in front of your face. I will see your face. Okay, so before you come to talk to God, you give some money,
Okay.
and because of that, in the merit of that money, you could have your prayer answered. Okay.
Any prayer?
Yeah.
לפני כל ברכה כדאי ללכת לקופת
לא ברכה, תפילה.
תפילה, ללכת לקופת צדקה ולשים כמה...
כן.
אז למה יש ביברך, אז צריך לשים צדקה ביברך?
כן, תקנו לחכמים בשם לעשות את זה, האריזה, אוקיי?
אז זה גם לפני וגם ביברך?
לא. ביברך דוד זה אחד, אוקיי? And then by mincha, by Ashrei,
בסדר.
okay. So sorry guys for the English speakers. There's a certain part in the tefillah that everybody knows that this is the part where you get to you put tzedakah. So that's what Vicky was talking about. Okay. It's a known place that says in the Sidurim to put Vevach David. It's called Vevach David when David blessed. It says Ata Moshel Bakol.
And that you do whatever you want.
And you rule over everything. So right, you can give whatever you want, obviously, but usually there's a minhag to give 3 coins. Okay, and the reason for that is it's very Kabbalistic. I'm not going to get into it right now, but it's Kabbalistic. Okay, it's too much right now, right? It's very Kabbalistic, but there's a reason for the 3. Okay. איך?
למה 300? הוא אמר שזה בקבלה.
קבלה זה...
Okay,
It's too much right now. That's it. Okay.
Kabbalah is not for us.
It's not for us right now.
3 coins. It's not allowed to teach us Kabbalah.
No.
There's a lot going on.
Okay. There's certain things. This is another thing people don't understand about Kabbalah. There's certain things that are built. That's what I taught you guys is the system, the overall system. Okay, but that system is broken down into millions and millions of details. I'm not exaggerating. So if I were to start explaining to you exactly every single detail, it's just not. It's not worth it. Exactly, you guys are gonna go crazy, right? So certain things are easier to tell over, and certain things are just like way too complicated to start with the explanation.
You cannot teach us Kabbalah. We're not
No.
supposed to learn.
No, did you hear what I said?
He said there's so much detail.
No. But she just said women are not supposed to learn Kabbalah. I
Who
heard what
said
you
that?
said,
Who
but
say that?
Not now.
Who said that? Francine, you say that?
Said that you need to learn all the Torah.
You cannot.
איפה שמעת את זה?
that's what I'm asking. I heard what you said.
I just heard that she's
Hashi's
not
daughter.
allowed to teach.
No, Hashi's daughter.
Don't worry about it.
So you're allowed.
Woman Kabbalah.
Hashi's daughter, they study, so.
No, they study, but it's
Didn't do the Torah before.
guys. There's Pshat, Remes, Drush, and Sod.
בדיוק.
Okay, wait.
זה לא נכנסים כנראה לסודות, לסודות הקבלה, לסודות הבריאה, זה רק להבין את הסיסטם, איך העולם עובד.
That's it.
Right.
It's a lot.
So Pshat, Remes, Drush, and Sod is called like people say it's the simple meaning, but it's not. It's not really a simple meaning. It's from the lashon to lefashet, to peel off. So the stories in the Torah, they're not simple stories of what happened. It's not like a history book. It's ideas that are you're supposed to reveal them. Okay, that's the word pshat means. Okay, lefashet. Then there's remez, things that are hinted to in the Torah. Okay, if you learn the various verses, you see things that are hinted back and forth. Drash is things that could be learned out from the various verses, okay, according to the words that are in there, okay? And the sod is the secrets of the Torah, okay? When people talk about Kabbalah, they're usually talking about the sod. They're talking about the secrets of the Torah. Like I said, I told you guys the basic system of how the world works.
Right.
The details, the individual details are millions and millions of details. It's like almost impossible to start teaching somebody all that stuff, before they even have any kind of base of what's going on. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, if you want to dedicate your whole life to learning, then you can learn that stuff, but it's way too much.
Who learns all that? Big rabbis and big.
Yeah. The big rabbis are supposed to learn everything. Sure. Okay, continue.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm going to throw you guys out of the shul.
It's okay.
Okay.
I agree with you. My goodness. I agree with you.
Okay. Okay. So it says Gabei tzedakah, people who take the tzedakah, right? They've collected the tzedakah collectors. Sheyesh be'adam ma'ot tzedakah. They have the money of tzedakah. Yasu b'hem betulot aniyot. Right? They should marry off women who are poor. She'ein tzedakah gdola mizo. There's no tzedakah bigger than this, to marry off women who are poor. Okay? No, like women who don't have money to get married. They need a dress. They need they need all that stuff. It's a big mitzvah to marry to help them financially to marry it off.
Even a
Okay.
hall and everything else. It happened in New York.
What's that?
Yes, it happened in New York.
Yeah, achnasat kala they call it,
No,
right?
somebody gave the whole thing for this.
הם לא יודעים? הם לומדים תורה כל החיים שלהם.
They just came in from Israel.
Very
They
nice.
were back.
Very nice.
היא אומרת שהרבה מהדתיים, היא
Yeah.
אומרת שהרבה מהדתיים הם פוסלים ישר, הם רואים משפחה זה הם פוסלים. כי הם לא יודעים את מה שאנחנו עכשיו לומדים.
איך הם לא יודעים? הם לומדים תורה כל החיים שלהם. הם לא יודעים שהם
Guys.
אסור לפסול, וזה, כמו שאתה אומר, זכות גדולה להתחתן עם
Guys.
בת עניים.
Guys, listen. If you don't open up the books, it doesn't matter how you look, how you dress. If you don't open the books, you're never gonna know.
Exactly.
If you don't go to shiur, you don't have a rabbi teach you and direct you, you're never gonna know. Doesn't matter how quote unquote religious you think you are. It doesn't matter quote unquote how religious you see somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody else. Okay?
קהילה, אני חושבת
It doesn't listen, it doesn't matter. Trust me, not everybody learns how you think they learn.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
It happened, there was once I went over a friend's house and the lady said to me, wow, I didn't recognize you. You became so religious and everything like that. I said, yeah. So she said, oh, my kids, they didn't find it was for them. So I blurted out, I'm like, yeah, because your kids don't really know what Torah is. She's like, what? How could you say that? They went to religious schools all their life. I said,
I'm not talking like that.
I said to her, I'm like, I promise you, your kids did not learn what I learned. Your kids did not sit there and open up all the books and read every piece of Torah. Okay? In the schools, they keep them in some kind of framework so they don't go off. But to become like a scholar, you actually have to put in the work and read the pages. Okay?
לומדים הלכה, הם לומדים הרבה דברים.
Okay. Guys, yes. Okay, in every yeshiva, you'll have a person who finishes Shas. Okay, 2 or 3 people. Yeah. The whole place? No. Okay, this is the way the things are. You, by looking at a person on the outside, you have no idea what's in their brain.
Correct.
No
That's
clue.
correct.
Okay, and the mistake that we make. Listen, the mistake that we make is to think that everybody knows everything. To assume that everybody knows everything, and they're just being bad because they're not doing it. Right? I promise you, they don't know what they're not doing.
Unless they had a rabbi and somebody who explained
Unless they actually opened up the books and learned and went through it. Right. There's no.
Go to yeshiva and
Yeah, just because someone they grew up religious or they went to these schools, you have no idea what they did in school. Just like a person got a college degree. You get a college degree. You know, he goofed off. He didn't goof off. You have no idea what he did.
He owed C's instead of all A's. You know what I'm just saying?
Yeah. Once you get the degree, you get the degree. Who cares what was inside? The degree doesn't say this guy graduated
With a C, you know, or GP. And
exactly.
like
Okay. It's the same thing. You can't look. It says don't judge a book by its cover. You can't judge religious people by just looking them on the outside and assuming they know everything, and they're just being bad people because they don't learn.
So how do you trust
Because
someone?
they don't do.
It's hard to trust.
You gotta get to know people. You can't when you're coming from the outside, you can't jump in on the inside. If we're family, then I know you, right? If we're like neighbors, then I know you. But to go to another city and assume people know things, it's almost impossible. Okay. And you get into all sorts of things like lashon hara and bad things that you don't want to get into. Okay.
Now, talking about you said married, okay? It's good to give for someone who needs it to get married. Someone who needs it to get married, you can go and get married simply, just, so is it really tzedakah?
True. So
Compared to someone who's,
because it brings them happiness.
Yeah, 100%. So no, I think what you're asking is like this. A person could get married, with the basic minimum, let's say $5,000 or whatever, very simple place, a few meals, and that's it. Or they could do it a little bit more extravagantly. So when I give my money, how much more of that extravagance am I paying for? Again, the person has to do their research. I can't. Every case is individualized, and you got to know who you're giving to. Is it a person who's honest with the tzedakah? Is a person who's loose and liberal with it, right? What are they thinking when they give that tzedakah? You should
I got these
investigate them.
emails. Help 20 orphans get married this summer.
You don't know who
From
they are.
Kupat Ha'ir, from
You don't know.
You just don't know.
You don't know.
Get to know people.
yeah, but this is our organization,
Yeah, you have to be
and that's the only one I give to. Always.
Okay, great. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying.
It's okay.
What?
I remember Ayelet, Abaye's wife, Ayelet told me Kupat Ha'ir.
It's
To
a good
give
one.
to Kupat
It's a
Ha'ir.
good one. I can tell you it's a good one.
שאפשר לסמוך עליו.
J'ai toujours mangé dans la barre.
שאולי לא לוקחים כסף סתם.
Can you find out for us? Can
Can
you
you
find
find
out?
out Fata'ir, please? Because I
You
also...
can investigate before. You know that it
I do. I love that how you investigate.
Because I like about them because you call them and they're always there for you.
There's
Thank God.
Excuse me.
there's another one.
Excuse me. What can when I get kupat tzedakah in your house? Can you just put it in the bag?
Yeah, you can just put it in a bag. Doesn't matter where. There's no holiness. Put stuff. Put it in a bag. Put it aside somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Can you?
Yeah, keep going. There's more to go, guys. I don't know. You see how much you guys learned.
But we want the like in real life. This is
Yeah, wait a minute.
no. I mean, we want to know like examples. Like now, we see someone on the street. Is it okay to give to them?
Well, according to what you learned, you tell me.
No, because
What?
you research. If it's somebody you see
But
that go get drugs, no. If you think that you have to make your research.
How do you make research? You're driving, you see someone, and you don't have time to make research. You see someone on the streets, you're not gonna give it.
No.
You don't know. There's no idea.
And they look like
Is it our problem what they do with the money? Really?
You don't know, you don't know.
Yeah. Like according to Kabbalistic idea, if you give your money to a place that they take it and they go gambling with it or with something, you got holiness, you got sparks of holiness. God entrusted you with it. Okay? Now you're supposed to, it's like seeds in the ground. You want to plant it in fertile soil so it grows good, right? You don't want to plant it in the sand of the beach, right? Nothing's going to grow. Okay? You definitely don't want to throw it on the floor, on concrete, right? It's definitely not going to work, right? So same thing, your tzedakah is like seeds. You want to plant it in the best place, right? If you think about it like this, it becomes a whole new world, okay? Instead of like, oh, obligation, I have to give, it's more like an investment, okay? Where are you investing?
Right.
Okay?
So,
Yeah.
even to shul is good.
Shul? Yeah. Shul. We're gonna get to different
We
places.
don't know what the shul does with
Exactly. You know, are they throwing parties or are
Especially when
they
don't
paying the
get
bills?
membership,
So
when
how do we know that?
especially when the children don't charge you membership.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
For next week, you're gonna bring us a list of
A list. I'll give you guys a list. Or
legal
you,
places, and that's all.
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, what to give the money?
There's actually an halacha like when a person gives tzedakah and he doesn't know where to give to, she give it to Talmid Chacham. That the Talmid Chacham will be entrusted because he's entrusted to do like the good things with it, right? But obviously someone you know who's a Talmid Chacham, not just anybody. You know, you see like that. Okay.
So we'll give him.
Okay.
We'll give,
Yeah, if you want to give, I have my cousin who's yeshiva in Israel. He's for kids, so I'll take anything. Yeah.
Okay. All right. כמה נותנים? All right. כמה נותנים לעני במחסורו אשר יחסר לו כיצד? אם היה רעב יאכילהו. היה צריך לכסות יכסהו. Right. If a person's hungry, give him some food. Okay. If a person needs clothes, give him some clothes. Right. אין לו כלי בית, קונה לו כלי בית. Right. If he doesn't have some utensils to use in the house, you buy him utensils in the house. ואילו אם היה דרכו לרכוב על סוס ועבד לרוץ לפניו כשהיה עשיר ועני, קונה לו סוס ועבד. אוקיי?
סוס ועבד.
סוס ועבד. כאילו מה אמרת? היונה לו אנו, זה תקרא לו אוטו ונהג.
אוקיי. Back.
אוטו ונהג.
Guys, come on.
That's funny.
Carriage וסלב.
Okay, guys. I'll say it in English. Guys, let me say it in English. Let me translate, okay? So if a person was used to having like a luxurious life or that kind of stuff and he became poor, then you have to bring him up to where he used to be, not what you think, right? Because you asked that, like what kind of wedding or what kind of thing. How much do you have to give? So you have to bring them up to speed where they were, okay? Because anything less, they're still considered like poor.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Okay? וכן לכל אחד ואחד לפי מה שצריך. Okay? You have to determine what a person needs. Okay? Not just like, here, take some money, leave me alone. Okay? What do you need? You need some food? I'll get you some food. You need some clothes? I'll get you some clothes. Right? Determine their actual need. Okay? הראוי לתת לו פת, נותנים לו פת. Someone who's fitting to give him bread, you give him bread. עיסה, נותן לו עיסה. To give him dough, you give him dough. Okay? מטה, נותנים לו מטה. If you give him a staff, like a stick or something, you give him that. הראוי ליתן לו פת חמה, חמה. If you give him hot bread, צונן, צונן. להאכילו לתוך פיו, מאכילו, to feed him in his mouth, you give him in his mouth. אין לו אישה, הוא בא לישא, מסיעים לו. Okay, if he doesn't have a wife and he wants to get married, so you marry him off. Well, not just shidduch, you actually pay for the expenses of their wedding, okay? ושוכרים לו בית, and you rent for him a house. ומציעים לו מיטה, and you get him a bed. וכלי תשמישו, okay? ואחר כך מסיעים לו אישה. So first off, you get these things ready for him, and then you marry him off. Okay, so then, you know, when the wife comes, everything's all ready to go, okay?
So where do you find these people? Like,
Again, you keep asking that question. We'll talk about that later. Those are the details. Those are the details where to find them. Yeah, we gotta throw them out of the shield. They're gone. Are you manning the camera over there, making sure everything's good? Everything's recording? Okay, you're the producer.
הם חושבים שזה מצחיק.
מה מצחיק?
הקארג' והרוז,
Nah, it gives an example.
מי
If he was...
שרוצה להתחתן, תשלח אותה לנינה עם החשבון.
I'm gonna do a lot of editing for these videos.
Before, maybe 100, 200, 300 years ago. No, you know anybody that...
Need a wagon.
בטויוטה אני אביא לו.
I guess so. I guess I could pause it and start it, but I don't know. I gotta get more experience
למה
with it.
אנשים כבר זוכים לעשות את ה...
זה כל הכיוון
Stop. Okay, there's a klal in Yahadut. Stop looking at other people. Don't compare yourself to other people. You and God have your own accounting.
Yes.
You have no accounting with other people. I'm better than them. They're better than me. I do more than them. They do more than me. How many people actually do this? How many people don't actually do this? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You and God.
אתה אומר דברים שהם
It
כאילו
doesn't-
לא ריאליים.
it
איך
doesn't-
אנחנו- זאת אומרת,
listen.
אתה לא אומר, אתה קורא, מקריא דברים ש... כאילו, כמה אנשים באמת מסוגלים ללכת ולחתן מישהו...
It doesn't matter. You have to give according to what's in your pocketbook,
נכון.
not according to what your friend's pocketbook is. Okay?
החלק שלך.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right? A few more things. Things will become more and more clear when we're almost done. Okay? They'll become more and more clear. Okay? Right, you're gonna get kicked out too. You're out. You're out.
I can't help it, I'm watching her.
יאללה. מה, באת לך...
She's making me laugh.
תצחוק עלינו.
Okay, you ready? אני המחזר על הפתחים, right? You have a poor person who goes door to door knocking, okay? אין נותנים לו מהקופה מתנה מרובה. Don't give him a big present, right? Let's say you have your קופת צדקה. You don't give him a big present, okay? למה? אלא מתנה מועטת. Give him something small.
If somebody's knocking.
Yeah, because you don't know.
בדלת לדלת.
Oh, because we don't know.
Because we don't know, we don't have a background. We don't have
Okay.
so we just give whatever and then let him go.
One time they asked $500.
What?
The refusal. She said they knock on her door.
Then he's not real.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You open the door.
One time they asked no less than 500.
עכשיו זה נחמד לשנייה.
You have these, don't you have these vans coming by your...
No.
Is it back?
No.
בטריה.
Okay.
די.
All right, so we're gonna continue, okay?
Yes.
Okay. מישהו עבריין, listen to this. במזיד. So a person doesn't keep the Torah on purpose. Okay? He knows it's right, he doesn't want to do it. על אחת מכל מצוות האמורות בתורה, even for one mitzvah. Okay? He says, I don't feel like doing Shabbat. I don't feel like eating kosher.
And he knows about it.
Okay? And he knows his idea of kosher, right? He knows there's a God, he knows everything. אמורות בתורה, ולא עשה תשובה. And he didn't do tshuva. He just doesn't keep Torah. אינו חייב להחיותו. You don't have to give him money or food or money to even to live. Okay? ולא להלוותו. And not even to give him a loan. You have no obligation to give him money.
That someone
He's starving
who knows
to-
everything and
No.
doesn't do anything.
He doesn't even do one mitzvah. Okay?
But that we don't know. How
We
can
don't
we
know.
judge?
We don't know how he.
נכון, that's true.
Stop.
זה לא הופך אותנו
But we don't know if he does.
You
Okay.
can
He
feel
might,
it
he
the
might,
way
he
it's
might do like tzedakah. He might
Doesn't
do-
matter. One mitzvah he doesn't do, and he doesn't do it on purpose because he knows, guys,
But tzedakah is a mitzvah, no?
come on.
אבל מה...
Guys, come on, guys, come on.
איך זה מתחבר עם
Do-
כל ישראל?
questions at the end. Questions at the end. Questions at the end. Write down your questions. Give her a pen. Give her a pen. Okay? Write down your questions. I'm not going to finish this way. Okay? All right. It's hard, all right? It's hard. It's not so simple. Okay? But even one avera, one thing he doesn't want to do, and he does it on purpose, you have no obligation to give him any money. Okay? Or any food or anything like that. Mishu avarian leachis. Someone who knows his God and he goes over the mitzvot to get back at God. He's getting revenge, okay? He's trying to get God upset. Afilu lemitzvah achat. Even for one mitzvah. Like you're going to eat meat and cheese. Okay? Even for one mitzvah. Kegon sheochel nevela. He eats something that's not kosher. Echad deshchiach basar kasher. Right? Where there's kosher food. Right? And he says, no, I'm going to eat non-kosher food on purpose. Okay? Asur lifdoto im nishba. If he gets captured by the goyim, they're going to kill him. You're not allowed to go rescue him.
Really? Oh wow.
If we go back to what you said in the beginning, this is what Hashem wanted for him.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
You have to do this. Exactly. You have to believe that God runs the world.
Exactly.
God put him in that situation, and God told you not to get him out of that situation. It's
He
very
can help
simple.
himself now.
That's not giving those confidence.
So whatever happens because God wants to happen. That's it.
Exactly.
Good or bad.
Exactly.
That's it.
If you really believe in God, you believe that everything happens from Him.
Nachon.
Everything is directed from Him. There's a mitzvah to bless on the good and to bless on the bad. Right? So why should you bless on the bad if it's not from Him?
Nachon.
Right? Why should you bless on the good if it's not from Him? Everything has to be from Him. So that's why you bless on the bad and you bless on the good. Okay?
So why it said, do not judge your neighbor. I mean, it's not up to us to
You're not judging.
You're not
judge
judging.
them. We have to judge them and nothing bad.
You're not judging. You're just.
We're not giving
So you're not
because we're
judging.
judging them.
No, you don't.
You're not judging. You're looking. You see a person doesn't do this. You
can
see
do
him.
whatever he wants.
You see him going into McDonald's and saying, "I don't care," and he bites. Am I judging him? I see in front of my face. He's not doing it. Okay, so that's
But
not.
by helping them, maybe something will
Doesn't work that way.
trigger them
Doesn't work
to
that
do
way.
good. No.
It doesn't work that way. When you follow God's word, that triggers them to do
That's
good.
not.
Not going against God's word and then
Yeah,
they'll
but a
come
lot of
back.
people don't know this. What you're telling us.
Yeah, they don't know that.
This is what you gotta learn. People think, oh, I don't need to learn. I'm a good person. You can't. You can't do it this way. Okay? If you really want to learn, and then what happens? Things happen to people, and they're like, I don't know why it's happened to me. I'm a good person. Well, open up the books and see what the way to act is, and then you'll find out, what kind of person you really are. You do a self-assessment. You're gonna get out. You started all this, okay? And Pnina and Achutza.
Did not say anything. She wants to ask a question though.
Okay.
The question later, you said.
Yeah, right. So when I ask a question, not everybody has to answer her.
No, but after I'll ask you because it's not just with tzedakah, it's more overall. So I'll ask you after later.
Huh?
Keep
Later.
going. That's
Okay.
fine after.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to get a little bit more personal, okay? A little bit more personal. הנותן לבניו ובנותיו הגדולים, שאינו חייב במזונותיהם, כדי ללמד את הבנים תורה, ולהנהיג הבנות בדרך ישרה. Okay? So a person who gives money to kids that he has no obligation to give them money. Okay? Once a kid can make money for himself, you have no obligation. A parent has no obligation to give him money. Any kind of money, doesn't have any obligation to feed him, not to clothe him, not to house him.
Our kids.
The obligation is done.
What age?
Kids.
Our kids.
Yeah, any person, kids. Whenever they can get a job and they can start working, they're done.
They can get a job in 14.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay? So any money you give after that, in order to teach them Torah, right? Like you keep them in the Jewish schools, okay? וכן הנותן מתנות לאביו, okay? And someone who gives money to his father, you're going to get thrown out, I'm telling you. Okay? ואין צריכים להם, right? And his father needs the money, okay? הרי זה בכלל צדקה. This counts as צדקה. Okay?
Wait.
What counts as tzedakah? If after
Even
they
if the father is
older
not religious.
and the father gives money,
Listen again, okay? Now, parents who have no obligation to feed and clothe and take care of their kids,
Right.
okay? The kids are past that age. And they do it in order to keep them in a Torah school, right? Or in the women in a Torah place, right? Or to feed their father or their mother, okay? And their father and mother actually needs it, okay? Then that's considered tzedakah, okay? Now, again, if your kids are not following Torah and you give to them, nothing. If your father doesn't follow Torah, he's one of these guys, right? That we said not to give. Yeah, they have to keep it. They have to keep the Torah, right? If they don't give it, it's not considered tzedakah. You could do whatever you want with your money, but it's not considered tzedakah, okay? ולא עוד, אלא שצריך להקדימו לאחרים, okay? Now you have to give to your kids or to your father, your family, before you give to other people, okay?
You mean to your kids, to your father. What do you mean to your kids, to your father?
No, meaning like your family. We're going to say, ואפילו אינו בנו ולא אביו, אלא קרובו, צריך להקדימו לכל אדם. Okay? Anyone who's your relative, you have to give him before someone outside of your household. Okay? Your household comes first. Your household comes first,
And
okay?
a spouse to a spouse, is that considered?
Only if you keep the Torah.
למה זה לא? Why you don't tell her you're gonna try the class?
Because she doesn't have a side conversation. You having side conversations over there, okay?
אני מסבירה לה.
אל תסבירי לה כלום, היא יכולה לשאול. אוקיי? את יכולה לשאול, אבל חכי, אמרנו לכולם תכתבי את השאלות אחרי זה בסוף, אוקיי?
Okay, so you have to give tzedakah to your family
No?
members
Does it
before.
count?
If
Yeah,
they
yeah.
if they keep
The wife-
if
They need it. And
if they keep the
the
Torah, yeah. If they get Torah, okay?
No, it's not to give them tzedakah, it's just to take care of them.
No, it's called
Consider
tzedakah.
it tzedakah.
It's tzedakah.
So what we give them is considered tzedakah.
Sure, sure.
You're thinking I'm giving from my goodness of my heart.
No, it's tzedakah.
It's tzedakah. You get married if you have it in
But to
mind.
do what with it?
No, let,
We give it to them to do what?
their livelihood.
The livelihood, you
Pay
have
the
to
bills, to eat, to sleep, you know, like a place to.
buy clothes and
That's
everything.
amazing. So when you help them to go to yeshiva and to seminary,
keeping the Torah זה שומר שבת, זה כשרות, הכל.
הכל,
so
הכל.
if they go to seminary and yeshiva, we help them, we give them money.
That's counts tzedakah. That counts tzedakah. Okay?
סמינרי, $100
All right, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. אז עכשיו, צריך להקדימו, right? So you have to, your relatives comes first, okay? לכל אדם. ואחיו מאביו קודם, okay? לאחיו מאמו. Right? So your brother from your dad's side is more than your brother from your mom's side, okay? ועניי ביתו קודמין לעניי עירו. So first, the poor people of your household, they come before the poor people in your town. ועניי עירו קודמין לעניי עיר אחרת. The poor people of your town come before the poor people of another town. Okay? ויושבי ארץ ישראל קודמין ליושבי חוץ לארץ. Okay? The people of Eretz Israel, they take precedence over people in חוץ לארץ. Okay? But obviously not your, again, it's your family, your community, outside community. Okay?
Then Israel.
But no.
Well,
So
Israel
Israel would
is-
come before an
Oh,
outside community.
I see.
Okay, like you want to give in California, there's some people, and there's some people in Israel.
Israel.
You go
of
Israel
course.
first, okay?
He doesn't come before your family.
Right,
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 right.
exactly. Okay. Now look at this. Kofina av lazum bno ani. Right, we force a father to give food to his son that is poor. Okay, ve'afilu gadol, even if the son is already grown up. כופין אותו יותר משאר השירים שבעיר. We force the father more than the other rich people in the city. Okay? Just to give you an idea, okay? Now, מי שנתן ממון לגבאים לצדקה, אין לו ולא ליורשיו שום כוח בהם, והקהל יעשו הטוב ביניהם, בעיני אלוהים ואדם. Okay? When you give money to a certain place, you have no connection to that money anymore. Okay, that's the place you gave it to. You can't tell them what to do with it or anything like that. It's theirs already. Okay. All right. You aniyim bnei betecha. You should always have poor people inside your house. Okay. People have the guests over their house, but what do? They have guests with their friends and family. They call it achnasat orchim. Right? It's not achnasat orchim. Right? It's achnasat chaverim. Okay. Right? You got to have poor people be a part of your household, okay? To
Where
help
do
them.
we get them from?
That's a good question.
I always ask this question. He pushes it to the end. Like, I'll let you know at the
Okay,
end.
we'll talk about that.
Elder, it counts as, elder people.
If they need the help. If they're elder and rich, you don't need the help, Okay, חייב להקדים להאכיל הרעב מנכסות הערום. Two people come in front of you and you have a poor person who needs food and a poor person who needs clothes. Okay? The person who needs food comes before the person who has clothes. Okay? If anybody asks a question that I already said, oh my goodness, they're banned from the shiur. They're banned from the shiur. That's it. Okay? I'm kicking them out for good. So you better not ask a question. Okay?
I'm not going to ask any questions.
Ish ve'isha, a man and a woman come, okay? שבאו לשאול מזון, מקדימין אישה לאיש. Okay? The woman gets before the man.
Good.
Okay? Right? This is to all the feminists that say, "Oh, Judaism is against women."
Yeah,
Right?
It's not.
You see, it's not. Okay. Anybody opens up the books knows that everything that people say is just stupidity and ignorance. Okay, it's not true at all. Okay. So the woman gets before the man because we don't want the woman going door to door. It's like a bizayon. It's like a disgrace for her to go door to door. Okay.
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay. וכן אם באו לשאול כסות, they came to ask for clothes. וכן אם באו יתום ויתומה, right? An orphan boy and an orphan girl, להינשא, to get married. מקדימין להשיא היתומה. We first give to the woman, right, and not the man. Because the man could always go out and go knock door to door, but a woman, it's disgraceful to her to go from place to place. Okay?
It is disgraceful.
עכשיו, now you're going to see the order of who to give to. היו לפניו עניים הרבה. There's a bunch of poor people in front of you. ואין בכיס לפרנס, או לכסות, או לפדות את כולם. But you don't have enough to give food to everybody, or to give clothes to everybody, or to rescue everybody, okay? מקדימין הכהן ללוי. The Kohen gets before the Levi. והלוי לישראל. And the Levi comes before Israel. וישראל לחלל. Israel comes before a Kohen who his children aren't fit to do the service in the temple. והחלל לשטוקי. Halal comes before a person who we don't know who his parents are. Shtuki. Like it's called like lishtok. Like they find the kid in the street and they don't know who his parents are, so we say, shh, don't talk about this kid, right? Lishtok. Okay? That halal, it's just it's halal is like a Kohen who married someone he shouldn't have and he had a kid with her. So that kid cannot go and serve in the temple. He can't do it. So he's called the halal. Okay?
זה נקרא חלל?
זה נקרא חלל. Okay? והשטוקי לאסופי. Asufi is someone we take from the street. We don't know who his parents are. והאסופי לממזר. Right? He comes before a mamzer. A mamzer is like someone, parents had...
but it's not the...
Parents had... It doesn't matter. Okay? We have a setter of preference. It doesn't matter whose fault or isn't. It's just, this is what it is. Okay? So if two people come to us, we're talking about a bunch of people here. Right?
Yeah.
So who takes precedence? There's not enough to give to everybody equally. So who takes precedence before who?
So you don't know.
Okay.
How do we know?
You're supposed to do your research.
כהן לוי חלל.
Okay. What?
כהן לוי חלל ישראל.
You can write this down. She's going to write it down, okay? Okay, mamzer. והממזר לנתין. The mamzer comes before the natin. Natin is like a
all this
safek
you're talking
ger.
about the מעשר, או 20%.
צדקה.
אבל כל צדקה?
צדקה, כן. Okay? והנתין לגר. This type of ger to a full person who converted. והגר לעבד, משוחרר. The ger comes before a slave that was freed. במה דברים אמורים? What's this talking about? בזמן שהם שווים, when they're equal. Listen to this. בחוכמה. What are they equal in? They're all equally wise. Okay? Then you go through this precedent, this list. אבל אם היה ממזר תלמיד חכם. Okay? Everybody know what a mamzer is?
No, you don't know actually, because we know according to what we hear.
Exactly. So mamzer is let's say a woman is married, she goes
She has a baby
with
from
a
another
man
man that is not her husband.
that is not her husband. Yeah, that baby is called a
A
mamzer.
married woman that goes with another man.
With another
Yeah.
man,
She
and
has
she
a
has a
baby
kid,
from
that
another
baby is called a mamzer.
And what
Okay?
is she called?
She called that
דבורה.
Okay.
Oh my God.
היא אסורה על בעלה ובעלה.
Yeah.
הם אסורים בקהל ישראל יש כמה דורות, נכון?
No,
Is it true they say...
guys.
Is a
Chill.
child outside marriage considered a mamzer?
לא, מה פתאום?
לא.
חס וחלילה.
Guys. When someone asks a question, let me answer it. If everybody just jumps on them, we're not. It's gonna be a
because
balagan.
that's why the definition. Some people they
Yeah.
tell you mamzer is someone is out of marriage. You know?
Yeah, that's what I
Being out
heard.
of marriage, that means you're not married by definition.
Yeah, I thought
so that's
also.
Yes.
so is it or it's not? It's not.
No, usually it's not.
Okay, what?
מה העניינים ברורים?
זה ממזר.
Guys, I can't hear
למה שהיא
nothing.
שואלת שאלה, אנחנו לא רושמת ואנחנו לא יכולים לשאול שאלה.
זה לא בסדר, אבל.
כי היא שואלת, היא מבקשת לשאול. אתם
והם לא
קופצים,
שואלים.
זורקים, פה, 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 פה.
אמרתי, יש לי שאלה.
את קופצת. אוקיי.
לא, אני לא קפצתי.
את בסדר, היא לא בסדר.
אני?
את על הפנים. Okay, what are we gonna ask? What are we gonna say?
So someone who has a kid outside the marriage, okay, that kid is considered mamzer or
No.
No.
Okay?
What is he considered?
It doesn't matter.
ילדים!
Guys,
ילד מחוץ לנישואים, אבל לא...
guys, stick to this, okay? Stick to the subject matter. If not, we're gonna be here talking about, you know, the rain, yeah. Okay? אבל אם היה ממזר תלמיד חכם, listen to the idea, okay? The idea is this guy's a mamzer. He's almost the lowest on the totem pole, okay? And he's a wise person in Torah. וכהן גדול עם הארץ. And you have a Kohen Gadol. Kohen Gadol is the person who goes, every Yom Kippur, he goes inside to the Beit HaMikdash. He prays for all of Israel that all their sins go away.
Yes.
Okay? He's like the Holy of Holies. Okay? And if he has one bad thought, he dies. Okay? So it's very, very high position. So you have this Mamzer, Talmid Chacham, a Mamzer that is very learned in Torah, and this Kohen Gadol, who doesn't know Torah, he's just an Am Haaretz. Who gets first? Mamzer Talmid Chacham Kodem. Right? The Talmid Chacham gets it before him. Okay?
Wow.
So all these categories of people is when everybody's equal in wisdom. But you have someone who's higher in wisdom, they get precedence. Okay?
Makes sense.
וכל הגדול בחוכמה קודם לחברו. Someone who knows more, he gets more than his other friend.
Okay.
Okay, it's wisdom. You give to the most wise person first. Okay, that's you have a preferential place to put your money. ואם היה אחד מהם רבו, if one of these people was his rabbi, right, or aviv, or his father, אף על פי שיש שם גדול מהם בחוכמה, right, if there's another rabbi or person who knows more than his rabbi or more than his father, okay, או מרבו מאביו, שהוא תלמיד חכם, קודם לזה שהוא גדול ממנו. Okay, what are you doing over here? Okay, I'm going to go back and read it again, okay? ואם היה אחד מהם רבו או אביו, okay, if one of these wise people, right, there's two people, one is more than the other one in knowledge, okay? So you give to the one with more. But if one of them is the person's father or his rabbi, okay? אף על פי שיש שם גדול מהם בחוכמה, okay? Even though there's someone bigger than them in wisdom, רבו או אביו, שהוא תלמיד חכם, קודם לזה שהוא גדול ממנו. You know, the person's father or a person's rabbi, who is also, you know, Talmid Chacham, like a wise person, gets precedence over the person who has the most wisdom. Okay, so like let's say, for the sake of argument, Rav Ovadia, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, comes in, and your father is a big Talmid Chacham, but obviously he's not on the level of Ovadia, right? So who gets first? Your dad, right? We don't give kavod to him, we give kavod to, okay? And that's the guy. Okay, we're almost done, a few more. שני עניים שחייבים ליתן צדקה, יכול כל אחד מהם ליתן צדקה שלו לחברו. Two people that are obligated to give tzedakah, one can give to the next and be done with their obligation to tzedakah, okay? ציבור שצריכים לזכור רב, right? Like if we come in front of us, we have and we want to pay a rabbi to be our rabbi, okay? V'shaliach tzibur, and also a person to go out and pray for us, okay? Two people in front of us. Either someone's going to be a rabbi or someone's going to be a shaliach tzibur. Ve'en sipuk be'adam liten lishneim, you can't give to both of them. Im haya rav muvak ubaki be'orah u'bedinim, if it's a rabbi who knows how to teach the halachot, knows how to to tell people what to do. Okay? Hu kodem. All right? It's better to get him than to get a guy who's going to pray for everybody. V'im lav shaliach tzibur kodem. Okay? It depends. If the rabbi knows his stuff, he knows halachot, so you want him because he's going to direct you to do the right things, right? You're not going to listen to stuff you heard in the street. Okay? Stuff you heard on the news. Right? Okay? Okay, last one. יכולים לשנות אפילו מתלמוד תורה לצורך שלישים, פשיטים, להגמון. Okay, if you have to give money to the local authorities to save the Jews, okay, even if you give money to tzedakah to people to learn Torah, you can change it. When can you change it? When it comes to saving Jews' lives. Okay, so to pay off like the city officials, so they don't kill the Jews, you can pay them. Okay, up to here is the halachot tzedakah. Now you can bombard me with your questions.
Is it yogish then?
As the Yovesh Shema.
יש לי 3 שאלות.
Yeah, okay.
Before you said if tzedakah, you give something, it can save you from something, right? That's it. So one of my friends asked, how come the destiny of the person doesn't change if we give tzedakah? He said, you said everything is right from הכל כתוב מלמעלה. וכל בן אדם הגורל שלו נקבע. אבל הצדקה כן יכולה להציל אותם מהמוות, נכון? זאת אומרת, אתה כן יכול לשנות את הגורל שלך. גם במעשים טובים, גם בגמילות חסדים, גם בכל דבר.
זאת אומרת שהגורל לא נקבע מראש אם כן.
נכון?
או כן או לא. תחליטו.
אנחנו שואלים אותך.
Okay, so the question, I'm gonna repeat the question and I'm gonna clarify it, okay? So the question is, can I change what's gonna happen to me by doing good deeds or not going to do deeds? Right? Is what's gonna happen to me coming to me no matter what I do, or it's not? Okay? So I'm gonna tell you something that's confusing. Before you start jumping, try to understand it. Okay? It's a difficult topic if you haven't heard it before, but try to understand it before jumping. It's both. Okay?
It's both? This is what you said?
It's both at the same time. Okay? I'm going to explain it. It's decreed that you're going to give tzedakah. You just don't know it. Okay? And right now, in the current time frame where you live, we live in our present. We don't live in the future. We don't live in the past. We live in the present. Okay? You are experiencing your life in the present always. Okay? So in your experience up in the heavens, it could be decreed something bad. Okay? Or something good. Okay? But by your actions down here in the present, it'll change what's going to happen in the next second, in the next minute, in the next hour. It's the next, because you're in the present. Okay? But what's supposed to happen to you throughout your life, whether you're going to be rich, you're going to be white, you're going to be black, you're going to be tall, you're going to be short, everything that's going to happen is already decreed what's going to follow you. Okay? So it's both at the same time. You just don't live. So you didn't understand what my answer was. I said to you it was both at the same time. You're just not living in the future. You're living in the present. So when Rosh Hashanah comes around, you're living in Rosh Hashanah. You're not living what's going to happen in that year. Okay, so in that place, that time frame, you could change it for yourself in that time frame.
Just for myself?
In the world, but in general, you're asking about yourself.
Okay.
Okay? You live in that single time frame. Everybody lives in that single time frame. They don't live in 50 years from now. Okay? So because you experience that time frame and you're not experiencing something else at that time, so your experience is as it's happening. Okay? So you're trying to jump ahead and say, well, if it's going to happen like this, what does it matter what I do here? You're not there. You're here. Okay? Your question is over there. Exactly. Your question is in the future. Your question is not here. Okay? But you're living in here and you're asking someplace else.
That's why you never go to see any psychic ever.
Exactly.
Ever.
Okay?
Ever.
Exactly. So there's a prohibition Okay, there's a pasuk called Tamim Tiye Im Hashem Elokecha. Right? You should be simple, okay, but pure in front of God. Okay, guys, I'm trying to explain something. Okay, so you're supposed to be simple in front of God. What does it mean? Don't look into the future. You're supposed to live your life in the present.
You look in the future.
Okay, you look in the future. You're trying to like outplan God. Okay, you're trying to outplan your life.
Right.
Okay, so there's a prohibition to just take it day by day, step by step. Okay, this solves a lot of problems. What do people have anxiety about? The future. They're worried about the future, right?
pass
Instead
the
of
test,
living
right.
their life day by day, passing the test, they're thinking 10, 15 years tomorrow.
How about
All that stuff.
saving money? Is it the same?
It's the same thing.
Last week, didn't we say that
Yeah.
from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, it's already set whatever we're gonna make.
And what did we say last week? Not just what you're gonna make.
Exacting, like what for tzedakah, for
We said what you're gonna make and what else.
What you're gonna give?
No, you guys don't.
What you spend on education?
You weren't listening. You weren't
they
listening.
can lose also.
Exactly.
That's makes the difference. Okay.
Exactly. Everything
Decide
you're
what
gonna
you're
lose.
gain and what you're gonna lose. Okay.
No. You weren't here. You didn't follow the shiurim.
את כל
You're in
מה
trouble.
שפספסתי ראיתי את
ראית?
הכל, לא רק
okay.
אני ישבתי עם המשפחה
Okay.
שלי
אז יש שני דברים. There's two things that happened to us. Like we recorded on Facebook. That was the whole shiur. And on YouTube, that was like cut up shiur. It wasn't like the whole shiur.
זה בא בחלקים.
Yeah, so I'm hopefully gonna try to get everything in one shot. Okay, but
הוא צודק ב1,000%. העתיד גומר לאנשים anxiety. לא לחשוב.
Yeah.
לחשוב את ההווה.
So people that save money
כן.
for the future because they worry about the next 10
what
years.
I'm gonna happen in retirement?
How
But we
is
don't know what's
that
gonna happen
okay?
tomorrow. We don't
Are you
know.
allowed? Is this a lack of trust in Hashem?
Guys, we have a question. So, if what about a person saves for retirement? Is this the lack of Hashem, lack of trust in God? So the Torah says this is a little difficult. Okay, if you have what to eat today and you're worried about what you're going to eat tomorrow, you're considered a ktanei emunah. You're considered low in emunah. Okay, just even tomorrow. Here you're talking about planning years into the future.
I mean, today people plan the kids' school.
My mother-in-law was saving all her life, or was saving all her life, and she got hit by a car.
Every day, I remember as a kid.
There's a lot of people that, you know, they save.
Oh, you didn't say no, they don't take anything with them.
יש לי עוד שאלה.
Yeah, okay, we got another question, guys. Listen.
אני רשמתי כמו את התורה.
Very good.
אם אתה אמרת, if you said that we need to give the tzedakah, the מעשר, or 10%, 20% from the brutto, how you can make sure
The
that
net,
they're all
he
expensive?
said.
From your net, אחרי שהוצאת את כל ההוצאות.
Yeah.
No,
Wait a
the
second.
business of the net. The business from the net, root from your
I'm talking about my
livelihood, from your personal.
Not paying your house or taxes.
No,
or,
net from the business, right?
Yes.
And livelihood grows, right?
Yeah. When we're talking about net or gross. We're talking about your paycheck or your business. Okay. Okay. Wait a second. So your net, okay, is going to be obviously after the taxes or after the expenses of the business. Okay. But it's not. This is not counting your household expenses. That's something else.
אני אתן קודם את הצדקה לפני שאני אשלם את המשכנתה.
קטנת אמונה.
אז אני אתן קודם ואז אני אשאר.
מה אמרנו? לא.
האמת היא שאתה אמרת שאם הילד גודל בבית ספר והוא אחרי גדלות, שהוא ב-15 הזה, אתה נותן anyway, כי הם לוקחים לך לפני המשכנתה. נכון או לא?
Yeah, definitely.
הם נותנים לך לפני המשכנתה.
Okay, so what do we do?
Okay.
Yeah.
Then he said
משכנתה, you have to give tzedakah.
Then he said that if you supporting your kids that keeping Shabbat and keeping Torah and the age that can go
That's
to
tzedakah
work,
as well.
it's tzedakah. So the school is to draw money before you pay your mortgage.
Right. So again, when we said all these halachot, you have to put everything together.
So the
Right.
school is tzedakah?
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
It depends. If it's a Jewish school,
Jewish school.
religious
They
school,
asked you last time. I asked you.
Yeah,
You
but
said
he
no.
said, but it's an age. It's an age not appropriate. They can go
Like
to
if
work.
your kid is independent.
yeah.
If it's independent.
If it's in
and
right,
independent,
right. You
yeah,
see
that's
the difference?
Last
We
week
talked
they
last
said
week.
that.
Yeah, we talked last
we
week
didn't talk
because
about
they're not
independence.
independent. Your
Independent.
kids are independent.
Okay.
Now,
They
wait,
can work,
wait,
they can
wait.
make money.
Yeah.
People in your kids' age, 17 years old, learn to work every day. She cannot because she's not going to school. So you're
No,
supporting
if
her.
you, in that
You know?
case, if you give for the school, okay, and then you give on top of that, whatever you give, let's say someone gives 20%, more than 20%, you have a higher
Of course, yes.
return or no?
If you keep
Sure,
going,
of course.
Yeah,
if you learn it all.
Yeah, if you give tzedakah, let's say you're a multi-billionaire and you want to give half of your money, yeah, of course you're going to get that merit. You know, obviously you're never going to spend that money in your lifetime, so you know, might as well merit it. Okay, merit again. Again, you gotta give it to the right place. You gotta give it to the right place, obviously.
We
Right?
know about the right place.
But because the
Wait, we got one more question, guys.
About that, you said that if they, we're not supposed to help a person that's not keeping Shabbat and all this stuff, right?
Right.
But what about the mitzvah that he's doing? We don't know the Sachar mitzvot. Let's say he's doing giving money, even though he doesn't keep Shabbat, but he giving money, no?
לא שווה.
כן, אבל מה אם כל ישראל ערבים זה לזה?
ערבים.
יש
מה,
לך
אז לא,
הלכות.
אז אנחנו ערבים רק למי שדתי.
אבל זה הטרור.
לא,
זה
יש לך
הטרור,
הלכות.
לא-
בורא עולם אמר לך, כמו שהוא אמר
איך
לך,
לקרב את כלל ישראל?
listen. Just like God told you, all Am Yisrael is guarantors this for this. Guys, listen. It's an important idea. Okay? Just like God said to you, all Am Yisrael is a guarantor. This one for that one. זה ערבים זה לזה. מה זה ערב? If you can't pay the obligation, someone has to pay for you. Okay? Who told you that? God. Right? We didn't make that up. Okay? So God tells you how to keep the halachot. It's the same thing. You can't say, oh, hey, you told me they're over there, so I don't need to follow you what you said over here. It doesn't work that way. Okay? He told us everything, and we got to keep everything.
אני, קצת יש לי בעיה עם זה שאנחנו עושים הבדלה בין
Alright.
יהודי ליהודי.
But now you said earlier it's what according to what you have in the bank, okay?
Yeah.
What if you have in the bank more or less of what you're making? How do you do?
What does that mean?
Like, let's say you make 100,000 in your bank account, you only have 10,000, okay? Or vice versa. What comes first?
Well, if you never gave, so you give of what you made, it's already in the bank, 10% of that or 20% of that, okay? And then yearly, what you're making. It doesn't matter what you have in the bank. What you have, you got to give from that, and then everything when it comes in, you got to give as it comes in. Yeah, makes sense. What? What's your question?
I have a question.
Wait, no, I think she's been holding back for a while.
No, after. I don't know.
I have a question.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do with this.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop. We're gonna end it here, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys wanna keep
Where
going?
do we find these
Because
people?
it's
Did you
And there's nothing to do with